right. Looks like we are live. Hello, everyone from around the world. Adam Cole here, founder of Join the Journey, and I am here with some very special guests. Our former Spark Coach Director, Jenna Carlton, kind of making a comeback, and Lori Zates, and she's just got just some amazing stuff to tell us about. As everyone knows, we're getting the end of our Spark Hope Week, but we're finishing strong, and I can't wait to hear, what fine is a four-letter word. It's just the name itself sounds so interesting. So with that, Jenna, over to you, and I'm just going to be here in the background listening and taking some notes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam. So good afternoon to everyone on the live, the Join the Journey family. It's me, as Adam said, Jenna Carlton. I used to be the Spark Coach Director, and I'm a special guest host, not a ghost, here on Spark Hope Week. So we're coming to you live with our Save the Best for Last in a series of Spark Talks that we had going on this week, just sharing tips and tricks on how to boost your business and your life. So we're hosting these spotlights to spotlight the type of community building and focus on empowerment that Join the Journey represents. Everyone on here this week is an amazing entrepreneur and serves in our program as a Spark Coach. They are donating their valuable time this week in hopes you will donate toward an entrepreneur in Zambia who needs a loan. Join the Journey, together with their partner in Zambia, issues small loans so resilient entrepreneurs can get things like a small stove or a market stall. And I'll put a link in the comments shortly on how you can help with that. So today we have Lori Seitz, as you guys can all see. Hello, Lori.
Hello.
She is the CEO of Zen Rabbit, and she hosts a podcast called Fine is a Four-Letter Word. She's an award-winning writer and a broadcaster, a nationally recognized expert in using gratitude and meditation to manifest goals faster. Awesome. A little bit more about Lori. In 2003, she launched a baking company and introduced the world to the gratitude cookie. After 11 years of consistent failure and intermittent success, she closed that business to pursue further opportunities. Yep, there's more to that story, which I'm sure we're going to hear about in the presentation, right? Yes. So today, through her transformational Being Fine experience, she encourages women in their 40s and 50s to stop compromising who they are and leads them in finding the mental and emotional clarity and strength to live the next 20 years differently than the previous 20. When she's not working, you can find Lori in the weight room, at the gym, because she also loves baking and eating. So I'm super excited for this, Lori. Take it away.
Thanks so much for that intro, Jenna. Yeah. Well, my first question for you all is, how many of you are going through life right now and saying everything's fine? It's just fine. In 2003, I started that business. I was making and selling a product called the Gratitude Cookie, as Jenna said, and that was gift boxes for business people to send as a way to say thank you to clients and referral sources. And I threw my heart and soul into that business. I'm a marketer. I'm good at branding. And from the outside, it looked like I was doing $1 million a year. But in reality, I wasn't even reaching six figures, and I had $72,487 in debt. Actually, it was probably more than that, but I stopped counting. I just didn't want to add it up anymore. And forget about paying yourself first, because I never took a paycheck. Every day I would question my worth and beat myself up because, like I said, I was a marketer and I couldn't even market my own damn business. And my husband at the time was angry and resentful and hurt because I was putting all of my time and energy into that business and none into the relationship. And oh yeah, he had no idea about the debt because I was hiding that from him.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But on the outside, if anyone asked, everything was fine. One day after 11 years of, well, if I just exhibit at this conference, or if I just send out this direct mail campaign, or if I just learn how to write copy better, my friend Christine said to me, Lori, this is like watching you in an abusive relationship. It took a few months for that to sink in before I realized she was right and there was no saving this business. And I decided to shut it down. And so around that same time, my mom was diagnosed with an acute form of leukemia, and she passed away about 6 weeks later. And now, up until that time, she had been a super vibrant, active, healthy person. And I mean, she was only 73 years old. So as I was going through the grieving process for my mom and for my business, I started thinking about that whole question of, do I want to live the next 20 years the same way I lived the last 20? And what will I do differently? One of the main reasons I started my podcast was to help other women, other people, to know that, one, there's nothing wrong with you. And two, you're not alone. It is possible to move from fine to fantastic. It is possible to say F being fine. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy or that it's not going to hurt on parts of the journey, but it is possible and it is worth it. First, it starts with gratitude. Oh, wait, let me back up for a second. There are actually 3 elements to moving off of fine, and I call it the trilogy for success. So the first part is gratitude. The second part is connections. And the third part is courage. Today, I want to focus on just a piece of that first segment, the gratitude, the finding and feeling gratitude for everything in your life, even if it doesn't look like a blessing in the moment. So I have a confession first, another one. When I started that baking company, which again was based completely on the concept of gratitude, I wasn't a very grateful person. I was always focused on what I couldn't do or what I didn't have or what wasn't working. And one day, my friend and mentor, Paul Martinelli, said to me, you know that book, Lori, you know that book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles? And I said, yes, Paul. He said, chapter 7 is on gratitude. You need to read that chapter every day, twice a day for the next 30 days. Read it once in the morning, once at night before you go to bed for the next 30 days. And I said, okay, Paul, I'm up for that challenge. So I did it. And miraculously, on the 30th day, I got a call from the editors at Oprah magazine, and they wanted to feature the gratitude cookies in her magazine. Can you believe it?
Wow, that is huge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that didn't really happen. What actually happened was, nothing happened. Nothing of notice happened. I did that whole exercise and nothing happened. But when I really noticed the change was a few months later. So again, my husband and I were driving home from Thanksgiving dinner at a friend's house. We were living in South Florida at the time. So he was down in Miami. We were driving home about 90 miles up I-95. And we were almost home when smoke started pouring out at the front of my car. And yeah, and I managed to pull off the highway to the nearest exit and kind of roll into a gas station that was right there off the exit and call a tow truck. And while we were waiting for this tow truck to show up, because it took a couple of hours, So normally, first of all, I would have gone into a rant like, I can't believe this is happening. This sucks. Why is this happening to me? Like victim mode, right? And we've all been there. Admittedly, we've all been there. But instead, this time I went immediately to gratitude. And I was much more, thank God we were able to get off the highway safely. And thank God this gas station was open. And thank God this tow truck driver is coming to get us at 11 o'clock at night on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And that is where I started to see things coming into alignment. Now, coming back to Oprah Winfrey, she's quoted as saying, be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. The point is, even if you're not a naturally grateful person, you can learn to become more grateful. So the question is, can you find and feel gratitude for everything in your life? Let's talk about an exercise that will help you find and feel more gratitude. Okay, so have you noticed that we live in a society of complainers?
Yes.
I mean, think about how the conversations go with your friends or your family or your coworkers. You know, you hear complaints about the weather, the traffic, the deadlines, the phone call you just had with the credit card company or the insurance company, or can you believe that woman said this? It just goes on. And if you watch the news, it's mostly bad because there's a phrase in the news media industry, if it bleeds, it leads, which is kind of sick, but that's how they operate. So, and because it's kind of how they keep viewers coming back with all that fear and misery. So we're conditioned to complain. And most of the time, you don't even realize you're doing it. It just becomes a habit. But it affects your mood and your brain biochemistry. So where can you find some gratitude and how can you not complain and contribute to that continuous stream of criticism and complaining? If you believe in the law of attraction, then you know that what you think about, you bring about. So if you're constantly focusing on negative and constantly complaining, that's what you're going to get more of. One of my mentors, Mike Dooley, has a saying, thoughts become things. So what are you thinking about? You might think that people complain because they're unhappy. But the truth is, they're unhappy because they're complaining. Actually works the other way around. It's your choice to complain about something instead of discovering what's wonderful or what you can be grateful for. So really quickly, a distinction between you have an actual situation that you need help with and you want to talk about it versus complaining. Like my I don't know, benchmark, if you will, is if I keep hearing the same thing over and over and over again from somebody and they're not doing anything about it, then that's probably complaining territory as opposed to a challenge that they need help with. And I'm also just want to make sure that that people who are watching understand that I'm not saying that you should put on a happy face when things are not happy and just pretend everything's okay. But the distinction, I'm saying examine the daily conversation that goes on in your head and the things that come out of your mouth. T. Harv Eker has this great quote that has stuck in my head ever since I first heard it. And it is, when you are complaining, you become a living, breathing crap magnet. Mm-hmm. Think about that. So the more you complain, the more crap you attract to yourself. So again, it's important to be thankful for the unexpected things in life because that's what shapes us into who we are. Almost like blessings in disguise that even if they don't look like that in the very beginning when they first show up. So I challenge you to change your attitude and remember to be thankful for all that you have. And if you do this, you will absolutely kill the habit of complaining 90% of the time. Because of course we're human, there's still going to be some element of complaining. It's part of being human. So let me share this exercise with you. It's part of my 4-month F Being Fine program. My client, Amy, had been stuck in this place where she couldn't get out of her head. And she kept thinking about all the bills she had and the credit card debt and how much she didn't like her job. And she had a lot of guilt around choices she'd made and stress about decisions that she had coming up. But she knew she needed to change her thoughts, but she was stuck in this endless loop of negativity and complaining. So think about your own life. Where have you been complaining? And what kind of things pop up during your day that you complain about? The thing is, when someone tells you to stop complaining or just change your thoughts, just all you need to do is change it. That's not helpful. What am I supposed to do exactly? So here's an exercise for you. For the next 24 hours, pay attention and catch yourself complaining. And when you hear yourself saying something, add on to the end of that, but I'm grateful for. So here's how it works. Oh man, I can't believe it's raining out. This is terrible. I wanted to go for a walk. But I'm grateful that it's not as hot as it has been. Catch yourself every single time, and every single time add on, but I'm grateful for. Can you do it? That's the challenge. When Amy used this exercise, she was able to cut off those negative thought patterns and focus on the more positive aspects of what she had going on. And remember from earlier, what you focus on is what you get more of. And so then we were able to build on a more solid foundation so she could bring more of what she did want into her life. Now, this exercise alone is not going to change your entire life from fine to fantastic overnight, but it is going to move you in the right direction. So whether we're talking about business growth or personal growth, it's always about taking those small steps consistently. And then those small steps add up to something significant. So if you'd like to start taking those small steps and are interested in my program, I'll put my info in the chat. You can reach out to me. You can also find more at zenrabbit.com. And you can find the podcast. Fine is the 4-letter word, wherever your favorite place to listen to podcasts is. And when you're stuck at fine and you're afraid to step off, because let's face it, fine can be a really comfortable place. You might not like it, but at least you know what you're getting. Mm-hmm. Remember, this is life. This is living. It requires courage. Otherwise, you're just surviving. And sure, plenty of people go through life that way, but not you. You are extraordinary. Your soul was designed to thrive. Now I ask you, do you want to live the next 20 years the same way you've lived the last 20? And what are you going to do differently? Because fine is a 4-letter word, my friend.
Thank you, Lori. That was awesome. So I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
I didn't see, I'll check the chat in a little bit, but let's get started on a question. I love that. And just like my personal thoughts is like, it's even comfortable to just say, I'm fine, instead of like explaining yourself and saying like, oh, I really wish I worked on this more today, or I want to become more have more gratitude. It's just easier to say, I'm fine,
Right.
So
right. But I've got so now anybody who listened to this, you included, is going to think twice before you say that.
Yeah, it's really I'm gonna catch myself next time. I really will. Um, so how do we move from fine when we've had issues like divorce, or say like we're dealing with death or something, job loss, something very severe? How can we move from fine to fantastic in these
Yeah.
circumstances?
So I alluded to it in that presentation, but for what, start with honor your feelings, honor how you're feeling. It's not about glossing over if you're feeling sad or angry or frustrated or guilty, whatever it is. Honor that, honor and express and honor those feelings, and then say, okay, what is there here? What element is there? One single little element of gratitude I can find, and start with that. Start finding little pieces of gratitude. I know I've been through some of those situations myself. And in the beginning, it doesn't look like there's maybe anything to be grateful for, but start digging around and you can find some things. You can. If you can't, call me. I will help you find them.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads to another question we have is what if like everything's going great? Like we just got the job we wanted, we're in our dream house, but we still don't have that gratitude. What can we do when we have everything, but we're still not happy?
Yeah. So that is actually one of the exact reasons why I started the podcast, Fine is a 4-letter word, because as I said, a lot of people, I wanted to help people understand that there's nothing wrong with you, because a lot of them are in that situation. They have what looks like everything, and they're looking around and they're going, people are envious of me. I have it all, but I'm not happy. So there must be something wrong with me. And there's nothing wrong with you. What's the problem, if you want to call it a problem, I don't even know that that's it, is that your soul is not fulfilled. Because our souls are always wanting more growth and more expansion. That's just how we're designed. And so it's a matter of, again, finding things to be grateful for. Like, where are the pieces that you can be grateful for? And then maybe looking for ways to fuel your soul. Maybe it's incorporating more play. A lot of us get to be adults and we don't play anymore. We don't do fun things. So finding fun things to do, finding the things that bring you joy and light you up. Pay attention to what those are and do more of those. And I know sometimes people are going to go, but I don't have time. Okay, this is like, it is, I don't want to be overly dramatic, life and death, but it's the life and death of your soul. So make the time to do the things that do light you up. And if you don't know what they are, make the time to figure out what they are.
Definitely. And this next question we got, I think it's more of a talking point, but or maybe kind of a challenge for you. But is it ever okay to be fine, even when you have nothing really going on, but at least you're not worse? Is it ever okay to be fine?
I think yes, if we define what we really mean by that, in terms of like, is it okay to, I don't think it's ever okay to be complacent, but it's okay to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Content.
Oh.
I think that there's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Content. I'm happy with all that I have. Like maybe you're in that place where everything is working right, and your soul is feeling fulfilled. I think that actually is maybe a place where people will say it's fine, but it's really better than fine.
Okay. So people are kind of downplaying their own success by saying they're fine.
Yeah.
Got it. Awesome. I'm going to check over one quick time over at the live, and it looks like we've answered everything. Lori, thank you so much. It was so great to have you. Very inspiring. And I know our audience really appreciated that. So as a reminder to everyone that's watching, this is Spark Hope Week here at Join the Journey. Our goal was to fund 100 entrepreneurs. I think they're going to announce it later on. I'm not sure when. But hopefully we all met our goal. And thank you again, everyone, for joining. And thank you, Lori. And I hope everyone
here. Do you want to say what the link is for the donations one more time? I know you put it in the chat, but we should maybe say it.
Okay, yeah. So it's jtjourney.org/spark. And that will take you right to where you're able to donate.
Cool.
Well, awesome. Thank you again, Lori. And I hope you continue to spark hope wherever you are.
Thanks so much, Jenna. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye now.